Okay, guys, so let's just see here. This guy will have a beard. Now, anyhow, instead of just wasting a whole bunch of time, you can see how it's starting to come. So that's what we're going to do. We'll just finish it off and be back in a minute. Okay. Okay, my friends, allow me to introduce the guest of honor, the target. Fine looking fellow, don't you think? Well, to the boats, man. Back in a minute. Okay, guys. You know, guys, really, what I'm talking about this evening is a wide stance. And in all honesty, though the stance is not really important, you know, you can always bend your knee to get your body in position, or raise or lower the elbow, bend at the waist, you know, use a higher, lower anchor, all these things. But in all honesty, the simplest way that I've ever found of starting the initial lineup is simply to make that wide stance. It just falls in place, much more natural. Irregardless of all the reasons, you know, not slapping the wrist and canning stuff, all these reasons, forget the reasons, just accept the fact that if you make a wide stance, it's going to help you out. That's it. Accept it or not. And, you know, when you do that, we got a couple of little vandals down here, so I just left it like that. But, you know, when you do that, you'll bop the guy on the bottom, and then you'll bop the guy on the top. Nobody's getting on this boat. Back in a minute, boys. Okay, guys. You know, archery is both the simplest thing in the world and the hardest thing in the world. The fingers are the most important part. Controlling your fingers, most important part. You know? So, the thing about the fingers that I find, I've talked about the radius, how, you know, how your fingers will radius and you can see things move. Okay, that's the radius. But just telling you that isn't enough. How do you do it? A guy's got to be able to tell you how to do it. Or what's the point in saying things like that? Most people don't even realize that anyhow. But the secret is simply having a bow that's heavy enough that when you pull it back, it pulls your fingers into the radius. It's just a feeling that you recognize. And when it comes back far enough, it will just go into that position. That's the radius. And if you're not doing that, you're going to shoot left, you're going to shoot right all the time. It's got to be from the pressure in the bow that straightens those fingers out into that radius, and then she'll go straight. Okay? So not only your stance, but you have to be able to pull. The best way is to pull the bow back far enough past your anchor that your fingers straighten out, and when you do that, you'll get the guy on the bottom and you'll get the guy on the top. Back in a minute, boys. Okay, my friends. So let's continue concentrating on the fact that for some magical reason, a wide stance solves 90% of your upper body problems for form. One of the things that's very, very important, or the most important thing of all, is this right hand. The right hand. When I draw far enough back that the pressure builds up in the bow so that my fingers just kind of balance between the left hand and the right hand. It just feels right, and the pressure goes onto those two fingers mainly. This one lets go first. These two fingers, and it's as simple as that. Draw back far enough that the hand can relax. That's it. It's simple. And when you do that, you'll get your hits. Those vandals. Back in a minute. Well, my friends, when you're training really hard, sometimes it's good to take a little break, Yeah. It really helps to be able to relax when you're training because, when you're training and you got things like that, you need to relax a little bit. Gives us a moment to reflect on Saracen archery. Isn't that something? Can you imagine going down to Constantinople to the Varangian Guard? You'd even give up drinking mead. Just be smoking weed. Fantasyland. Anyhow, I find that smoking marijuana has not hurt me as an athlete whatsoever. Now, I'd say that smoking is not good for the lungs for running, but in all honesty, I've gone into many, many gun competitions and won many. I smoked a joint before every competition. Yeah, it doesn't really harm me that much. And now that they've legalized it in Canada, well, I'm enjoying it. is a pleasant thing. It's also very good for the nerves, keeps you calm. It's good to be calm when you're in heavy competitions. Makes you nervous. So it's good to have a little cool out. Yeah. Anyhow, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, guys. Words. Words are the poorest way of all of communicating. Big back step. Twist it right around here. Get it straight back. Relax the fingers twice. Big back step. So we take a big back step, put the arrow tip right on. We draw back until we get about 4 or so inches in front of our face, and then we roll everything, and the arrow starts to appear fairly straight. At this point, we'll just bring it back until we use the occipital anchor. That's when I put my thumb right on the back of my jaw under my ear, right? Like our ancestors, draw to your ear, and that's how I do it. Once I get that done, now I can relax my fingers and put the apex of my cheek right on my index finger. At that point, the arrow will still be pointing off that way, but the feathers will be right under my eye. So now I'm just going to relax my fingers and let the back of the arrow go in behind the front, or just roll the left until the front's on. But the front should be on already because you drew with the tip on. So generally, it's the fingers at the back that line it up. And when you can get the little V of the feathers and the tip all together, and you just let it go, you'll hit your target. Anyhow, that's a lot of talking and stuff like that. But when you do that, you'll see that you can get your hits. You can bop the guy on the bottom, and you can bop the guy on top. Anyhow, I think that's enough. Draw until your fingers are made straight by the pressure in the bow. Take an extra wide stance, and your upper body will line up automatically. Anyhow, that's enough for now. Good shooting, guys. Have fun. Talk to you later. Bye now.